A crimson blaze streaked across the sky like a meteor, leaving a scorching trail in its wake. Within the flames, a shadowy figure flickered in and out of sight. Crimson Phoenix Red Lotus. A cold, fierce cry echoed from within the fire as it erupted, revealing a blazing, sharp spear transformed into a vibrant red lotus. The lotus spun swiftly, darting like lightning toward a distant figure cloaked in dark light. "Ha!" The dark figure laughed, gazing at the fierce attack with an unrestrained arrogance. His laughter carried a brazen pride that could not be concealed. Fiendish Azura Force, Soul Banishment Palm. The surrounding dark light expanded, coalescing into a massive black palm, towering 100 feet tall. Sinister energy swirled around it, and as it emerged, the once hot air grew chillingly cold. Red and black lights clashed violently in the sky, and half the heavens seemed engulfed in the blaze and shadow. Even the vast, boundless mountain trembled from the impact. The interweaving red and black glow was stunning, drawing countless gazes filled with solemn awe. This fierce battle had already far surpassed expectations. Many had believed that Tang Xinlian was sure to claim victory, yet as the fight intensified, Hua Qin's ferocity only grew, his momentum relentless. While Tang Xinlian's attacks were equally fierce, those with keen eyes could see that her strikes seemed to have little effect on Hua Qin. Where did this guy come from, to be so powerful? Numerous experts were quietly astonished. Tang Xinlian's reputation was built over countless battles, and among the younger generation in the Chaos Demon Sea, few could rival her. Yet here she was, locked in a stalemate against this unknown and enigmatic challenger. A dark horse, too unbelievably dark. Another brutal battle rages over there. Some turn their gaze to another battleground. The air resounded with deafening elephant calls as two figures clashed like lightning. The sheer force of their strikes distorted the space around them. Sky-crushing white elephant palm. A deep voice boomed as the figures crossed paths, and a radiant white light burst forth, forming a colossal elephant hundreds of feet tall behind Jose. His arms swelled with a terrifying power that surged through him. Boom! With a cold expression, Jose threw a devastating punch. The giant elephant charged forward, shaking the heavens. Spectators gasped at the sight. Jose's myriad elephant sky art was a fierce body refinement technique, rumored to make the body as strong as the power of 10,000 elephants. With that strength, one could move mountains and seas. Heavenly Demon Seal. Sushio's gaze sharpened as he saw Jose's mighty charge. His diamond-shaped pupils glinted coldly. He opened his palm, gathering dark energy that transformed into a massive black seal, and then he punched forward. Clang! The giant elephant collided with the black seal, and a piercing metallic sound filled the air as waves of power spread outward, cracking the surrounding peaks. "I told you, you're not my match." Sushio's voice was calm as his black seal vibrated, staring coldly at Jose ahead. "Hmph!" Jose snorted, his expression icy. Clenching his fists, he summoned the white elephant once more, unleashing a flood of attacks at Sushio. In the sky, both battles raged with such intensity that no one could look away. This was, without a doubt, the pinnacle of the younger generation's power in the Chaos Demon Sea. On the mountaintop, other experts wielding summit seals watched these ferocious battles with somber expressions. Only by witnessing the clash firsthand did they realize the gap between themselves and these top-ranked prodigies. While the crowd watched in awe, Lin Dong sat cross-legged atop the peak, unmoved by the fierce battles. His dark eyes remained calm, like a tranquil lake. "Brother Lin Dong," Mu Ling Shan, standing guard beside him, gazed at him with her clear eyes. She could sense an intense power quietly building within him. "Brother Lin Dong, are you confident?" she asked, worry evident in her tone. Even Tang Xinlian and Jose were slowly losing their advantage. Facing both Sushio and Hua Qin alone seemed nearly impossible. Confidence? When is anything ever certain? Lin Dong glanced at her and chuckled. Tang Xinlian and Jose represented the peak of the younger generation's strength in the Chaos Demon Sea. Faced with such a formidable opponent, even someone as confident as Lin Dong didn't dare to claim a certain victory. This would be the most dangerous battle he had faced since the war in Chaos Demon City. With so many eyes watching, he couldn't recklessly draw upon the power of both ancestral talismans. If the alien demons detected it, they would surely target him. Hearing Lin Dong, usually so assured, voice these concerns, Mu Lingshan bit her lip. The situation was clearly more perilous than she had imagined. It's all because of those two cursed fiends. Miss Tang and Jose should be able to hold out a bit longer. Lin Dong's gaze fixed on the intense battle raging in the sky. Narrowing his eyes, he took a deep breath, his fists tightening as he felt the power within him stirring, ready to be summoned. It's been a long time since I've fought like this. The battle above grew fiercer with every passing moment, the shockwaves alone daunting enough that even a master at the great completion of the Death Mystique stage dared not confront them head-on. Boom! A fierce energy burst exploded across the sky, and two figures shot backward from their respective battle zones. They wavered mid-air, their breaths ragged and unstable. Heh! It seems the two of you are no match for us, Hua Chen said, hovering ominously, his dark pupils radiating cold malice. In the distance, Xiao Xiao was enveloped in swirling black aura, his presence emitting a terrifying energy that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. Tang Xinlian's fiery red hair cascaded down her shoulders as she fixed her icy gaze on Hua Chun, who was cloaked in dark energy. Her hand clenched tightly. If they failed, the Thunder Ancestral Talisman would fall into alien demon hands, dooming Imo Luo's plan. This was something she absolutely couldn't allow. You're celebrating far too early. Tang Xinlian's cold voice rippled across the battlefield. She bit her fingertip, and a drop of crimson blood seeped out. Her slender fingers began to trace intricate fiery seals in mid-air. With each seal, radiant red light erupted from her body, blazing like a sea of fire. Flame Deity Genesis Art. The fiery sea expanded, and her sharp command echoed as a torrent of flames engulfed her figure, forming massive fiery wings that unfurled from her back. Her aura spiked violently. So, she's using the Flame Deity Genesis Art, in that case. Seeing this, Jose sighed softly, his eyes turning steely as dazzling white light surged from within him like a flood. As it poured out, his body expanded, reaching astonishing heights. Sacred Elephant's imperishable body. As Jose's low, resonant voice filled the air, his body reached several stories tall, with the space behind him twisting and flickering as a colossal sacred elephant seemed to step into existence, standing imposingly over the battlefield. All eyes locked on the overwhelming flames and the towering sacred elephant. It was clear to everyone that Tang Xinlian and Jose had unleashed their most powerful techniques. Hua Chun gave a cold smile, his gaze icy and indifferent. Oh, so you're putting everything on the line? Very well. I'll shatter your last hopes. The terrifying surge of primordial energy gathered like an ocean above, its force so overwhelming that Boundless Mountain itself trembled under the pressure. A multitude of eyes gazed intently at the flames and the towering sacred elephant in the sky, each person aware of the formidable strength behind Tang Xinlian and Jose's efforts. Xiao Xiao being ranked first on the new stars list, it's no wonder he's forced Jose this far. But who's that battling Tang Xinlian? To be so powerful? Murmurs of confusion spread among the crowd. This tournament had turned into something no one could easily grasp. In the main hall of the Flame Deity Palace, Missouri Luo watched the boundless mirror with a calm expression, though the hand clasped behind his back tightened gradually. As Tang Xinlian's master, Imo Luo knew her strongest techniques well. If even the Flame Deity Genesis Art failed to stop Hua Chun, the outcome was already apparent. The same went for Jose's Sacred Elephant's imperishable body, one of the top-tier martial techniques even within Myriad Elephant Mountain. Still no sign. Imo Luo's piercing gaze swept across the battlefield, his expression darkening. These damned things are getting more cunning, Imo Luo muttered under his breath, lifting his gaze once more toward the boundless mirror. Boom. A sea of flames surged forth as a graceful figure stepped lightly through the inferno. Behind her, enormous fiery wings unfurled with a gentle sweep, and the heat radiating from her presence caused the air itself to burn, raising the temperature dramatically. At this moment, Tang Xinlian stood transformed, her aura far more overwhelming than before. Crimson flames coiled around her like serpents, brimming with an immense destructive force. Meanwhile, in the distance, Jose had taken on the form of a towering giant. His skin glowed like polished jade, and a colossal 1,000-foot sacred elephant loomed behind him, exuding unmatched might and grandeur. All eyes locked on the two as they unleashed their final moves, knowing that the outcome of this confrontation would likely decide the fate of both battlefields. From atop the peak, Mu Lingshan stared anxiously at the sky, her small hand clenching tightly. Her delicate face was filled with tension. Yet, beside her, Lin Dong stood upright and unwavering, his expression as calm as a deep lake. After a glance at the sky, he closed his eyes slowly. Lin Dongji. Mu Lingshan turned toward him, sensing the gathering power within him accelerating as if he were preparing for something. Above the battlefield, Tang Xinlian's eyes, burning with fire, remained chillingly cold. Her fiery wings snapped open, propelling her skyward like a phoenix taking flight. Flames surged in all directions, engulfing the heavens. Flame of Nirvana. A piercing cry echoed across the sky, as a mighty flaming phoenix emerged from the sea of fire, its wings ablaze. The creature soared with unstoppable force, as though intent on setting the world alight. Sacred Elephant's imperishable body. Sacred Elephant's fury. A thunderous roar erupted from the heavens. Jose, in his giant form, let out a deafening bellow, and the sacred elephant behind him trumpeted in response. Waves of blinding white light surged outward, causing the air to ripple. Riding atop the sacred elephant, the giant charged forward with earth-shattering momentum, twisting space itself as if a stampede of beasts were thundering across the land. The sheer force of the charge seemed capable of leveling mountains. The overwhelming display left the crowd breathless. No wonder they rank among the top 3 on the Rising Stars list. Hua Chun stepped lightly in midair, his gaze fixed on the rapidly approaching phoenix. Its majestic splendor was breathtaking, but beneath that beauty lurked deadly peril. However, it's still not enough. A sinister glint surfaced in the depths of Hua Chen's eyes, and the corners of his mouth curled into a chilling smile. With deliberate steps, he advanced. Boom! An eruption of inky black light poured from Hua Chen's body like a cascading waterfall of darkness, shrouding the world in gloom. The sinister aura that accompanied it seemed to creep into every corner of the battlefield, like an unseen specter. As black radiance flooded the skies, Su Xiu raised a hand. His arm darkened at an alarming speed, radiating a strange, ominous energy. Rumble. The fiery phoenix streaked across the sky like a meteor, its flames so intense that some trees on the slopes of the boundless mountain burst into flames spontaneously. Hua Chun watched the phoenix draw near, the black gleam in his eyes intensifying. His hand clenched tightly, and an eerie voice whispered from his lips. Grand Celestial Demon Body. Whoosh! Black light surged violently, and a storm of malevolent energy erupted from Hua Chen's body. His figure expanded rapidly, sprouting black, bat-like wings riddled with bone spines. Strange dark runes snaked across his skin, each exuding a sinister aura. The air thickened with palpable malice. Boom! A monstrous figure within the darkness roared toward the sky, clenching a massive fist. As it punched forward, black flames coalesced, forming a swirling mass of cursed energy at its knuckles. Meanwhile, Su Xiu's slit-like pupils dilated as he locked onto the oncoming sacred elephant. Without a trace of emotion, he lifted his now blackened arm and slashed downward with a whispering rasp. Abyssal devouring of demons. From the void, a vast black rift tore open, stretching across the battlefield like the gaping maw of an ancient beast. The black abyss churned, exuding waves of malevolent energy as it opened wide to meet the oncoming charge of the giant and the sacred elephant. Boom! A terrifying clash of 4 nearly overwhelming forces erupted in a deafening roar, like thunder descending from the heavens, echoing across the land. The shockwave spread with devastating impact, causing towering peaks to show signs of crumbling under the sheer force. A blinding brilliance radiated outward, forcing the onlookers to squint, though they quickly forced their eyes open again, their gazes fixed tensely on the distant sky. A sharp cry split the air. Another phoenix screech. Yet, this time, a sorrowful tone filled the cry as a massive figure engulfed in flames was thrown backward. The flaming phoenix shattered inch by inch, revealing a slender figure within. Her armor was torn, and blood seeped through, leaving the flame deity palace's fire fairy in a battered state. A low growl of anger echoed from the abyss, followed by a giant figure being hurled out, smashing heavily into a mountain peak and shattering it entirely under the terrifying force. A stifling silence blanketed the area. Within the boundless mirror and across Blaze City, a deathly hush fell as stunned eyes fixed on the disheveled figures within the mirror. For a moment, no one could speak. Tang Xinlian and Zhou Zhe were defeated. From a pavilion above, Gu Mengqi and her two companions bit their lips, followed by a faint sigh. The outcome was unexpected but, in the end, inevitable. Those two opponents were simply too powerful. In the main hall of the Flame Deity Palace, Missouri Luo watched the scene unfold, his hands trembling slightly behind his back. Sigh. The great elder of the Flame Deity Palace sighed. Was their plan destined to fail here? If even Tang Xinlian and Zhou Zhe couldn't stop those two, who else in the boundless mirror would dare to stand against Huachan and Su Xiu? Is it over? Mo Luo clenched his fist, eyes filled with reluctance. The great elder offered a faint, bitter smile, just about to voice some comfort, when he paused, noticing something. Mo Luo also suddenly looked up, a hint of surprise flickering in his gaze as he stared into the boundless mirror. Huh! Gasps of astonishment rippled through Blaze City as curious eyes turned toward the boundless mirror, where they detected a surge of fierce, defiant energy piercing through the heavens. That aura was sharp and imposing, like a sword drawn from its sheath. Countless eyes shifted in amazement, and soon, they saw it. A lean figure, previously seated like an immovable stone at the summit, now standing, grasping the Thunder Emperor's scepter. In that instant, wind and thunder moved together. Is that Lindong? The powerful, sudden surge of fighting spirit caught everyone's attention, and when they saw the lean figure rising slowly, they paused, then recognized him. What's he planning? Does he actually want to contest for the Thunder Ancestral Talisman? This guy, he's really going too far. This isn't the time to be showing off. Many exchanged uncertain glances. Though Lindong's courage was commendable, even Tang Xinlian and Zhou Zhe had fallen to Su Xiu and Huachan. What difference could Lindong make now? Was there any outcome besides a crushing defeat that would only add to Su Xiu's already fearsome reputation? Is Lindong really stepping in? Amidst the rising murmurs, the Flame Deity Palace's great elder's eyes flickered, and he let out a quiet sigh, his gaze filled with little hope. There's no use worrying now. Better to have faith that this young man might just work a miracle, Mo Luo replied calmly. The great elder forced a smile. It's not that I doubt Lindong's strength. If he were up against either Tang Xinlian or Zhou Zhe individually, he might be able to hold his ground. But now, facing Huachan and Su Xiu, both stronger than either of them, and taking on two at once, Mo Luo fell silent. The strength of Su Xiu and Huachan surpassed even many senior experts, let alone those of Lindong's generation. While Lindong was formidable, going up against both would undoubtedly be overwhelming. But, at this point, did they have any other options? All they could do was place their hope in this young man and trust he could turn the tides. He's really going to fight. From the pavilion, Gu Mengqi's eyes were fixed on the figure within the boundless mirror. Lips pressed tightly, she felt a mix of frustration and admiration. In the Chaos Demon Sea, how many among the younger generation would dare to challenge such monstrous opponents even after witnessing Tang Xinlian and Zhou Zhe's defeat? Gu Yin and Gu Yu exchanged quiet, wry smiles. He was always one to achieve the extraordinary within the ordinary. But whether he could once again create his own miracle, this time, was something even they couldn't be sure of. Inside the boundless mirror, an intense and overwhelming battle aura erupted, tearing the clouds and the sky apart. On Boundless Mountain, everyone turned in astonishment towards the figure at the center of this surge. Lightning crackled around him, and in that moment, Lin Dong seemed like a thunder dragon roused from its slumber, his awe-inspiring energy flooding outward like an unstoppable tide. Brother Lin Dong. Mu Lingshan watched him rise beside her, his body standing as straight and powerful as a staff. She could sense the raging power within him, roaring like an ocean. Lin Dong. Tang Xinlian wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, her gaze on him complex as he stepped forward into the air. I'll handle it from here. I can't promise victory, but this time, I'll give it everything I've got. Lin Dong looked briefly at Tang Xinlian, saying no more before he turned, clenching the Thunder Emperor's scepter as he strode towards Hua Chan and Su Xiao, who were watching him with mocking eyes. Tang Xinlian stared after him, a trace of astonishment in her gaze. His figure wasn't imposing, but at this moment, those slender shoulders seemed to bear the weight of a raging storm. To her, his silhouette now held a strength that somehow reminded her of Emo Luo's steady and towering presence. Be careful, she whispered, biting her lip. Without stopping him, she understood that in this moment, no one could halt this man, brimming with uncontainable fighting spirit. Lin Dong's steps briefly hesitated before he waved a hand and continued forward. He stopped 100 paces from Hua Chan and Su Xiao. Well, nowhere left to hide? Finally showing yourself? Hua Chan sneered at Lin Dong, though a chilling glint showed in his eyes. Su Xiao merely looked at Lin Dong with cold indifference, a dark glow flickering at his fingertips like a sinister arc of lightning. Their presence exuded lethal danger. After the previous fight, no one could underestimate them. Without question, they were the most formidable young warriors in the Chaos Demon Sea. The Thunder Ancestral Talisman. I won't let it fall into the hands of filthy beings like you, Lin Dong said, locking eyes with Hua Chan. And you think you're fit to tell me that? Hua Chan smirked, his teeth gleaming with menace. Hua Yuan and his crew fell by my hand, and so will you, Lin Dong replied, smiling faintly. Hua Chin's smile widened, though a cruel glint flashed in his eyes. He turned slightly to Su Xiao and said, You go get the Thunder Ancestral Talisman. I'll take care of this kid. Su Xiao glanced at Lin Dong, nodded, and turned to leave. Seeing this, Lin Dong narrowed his eyes, his hand flipping upward as a radiant seal appeared in his palm. It swiftly expanded, forming a colossal array nearly 1,000 feet wide that blanketed the entire area. Hiss! The array activated, casting a shimmering veil over Hua Chun and Su Xiao, capturing them both within. Do you really think you can take on the two of us alone? Hua Chun scoffed as he looked up at the immense formation stretching across the sky. His gaze lingered on Lin Dong, his expression filled with scorn, as if Lin Dong were deluded. He found it laughable that Lin Dong would have the audacity to stand alone against him and Su Xiao. Lin Dong's expression remained calm. He closed his eyes, and within his meridians, primordial energy surged wildly, accompanied by a torrent of spiritual power rushing out from his Naiwan palace. Inside his body, the ancient cosmic formation began to turn, and the two powers started to merge, releasing an overwhelming aura. Kill him, Su Xiao said, his gaze shifting from the sky to Lin Dong. Hua Chin shrugged, his expression twisting with cruelty as his bone-spiked demon wings unfurled. His voice grew cold. If he's so eager to die, let's oblige him. With that, he clenched his fist, launching a powerful punch that amassed into a black beam, shooting forward with an intense roar. Demon-devouring finger. Su Xiao's gaze turned frosty, his jet-black fingers slicing downward. 2 attacks, one overt and one covert. Each surged with a terrifying power, enough to inflict grave injuries on even a great completion expert at the death mystique stage in an instant. Countless eyes were fixed on the furious assaults barreling forward, and many watching sighed inwardly. Lin Dong really was a bit too reckless. This move was as good as a death wish. A streak of black light tore through the void and appeared before Lin Dong in an instant. At that very moment, his tightly closed eyes snapped open, and boundless energy surged forth, almost tangible in its intensity. Ancient cosmic formation, demon erasing reversal. Lin Dong's hands wove seals in a flash, and his deep voice echoed across the sky. Boom. Overhead, a thousand-zhang formation slowly began to rotate in reverse. From its center, a beam of light shot down, colliding directly with the twin beams of black light in front of Lin Dong. Bang! An explosive sound reverberated as the black light scattered, drawing the gaze of every spectator. As the dark radiance gradually dissipated, a thin figure emerged, gripping the Thunder Emperor's scepter, stepping forward under the stunned gazes. A wave of astonished murmurs swept through the crowd like a tide, as shock registered in countless eyes. Lin Dong had actually managed to fend off the combined assault of Hua Chun and Su Shou. Hua Chen's expression flickered with surprise as he looked at the figure emerging from the darkness. Then, his face twisted with a savage grin. Now this is getting interesting. Brilliant light slowly dispersed into countless particles in the sky, and as the crowd watched Lin Dong emerge from the turbulent energy, they couldn't help feeling shaken. Who would have thought that Lin Dong could withstand the combined attack of Hua Chun and Su Shou? What a powerful formation. Experienced observers noted the spinning thousand-zhang formation overhead, their gazes heavy as they sensed the immense energy radiating from it. Lin Dong clearly had hidden reserves, daring to face both Hua Chun and Su Shou head-on. Lin Dong stood in the air, massive energy swirling around him like a storm. The Thunder Emperor's scepter in his hand rained lightning from its tip, his gaze sharp as a blade. He understood the formidable strength of the two before him, so he had foregone any testing moves and instead unleashed the ancient cosmic formation, one of his deadliest techniques, right from the start. But powerful as the formation was, it couldn't entirely hold back these two fierce adversaries. This formation's got some bite. I'll handle it. You go kill him, Su Shou said indifferently, his triangular pupils coldly observing the formation above. Got it. Hua Chen's lips twisted into a dark smile. His eyes gleamed as his demon wings, bristling with bone spikes, flared out, and his figure disappeared in a sudden blur. Boom. At the exact moment Hua Chen vanished, Lin Dong's hand seals shifted, causing a powerful deconstructive beam to shoot down from the formation above. Whoosh! But before the beam could descend fully, a streak of black light streaked across the sky like lightning, intercepting the beam. Su Xiu's black hand slowly closed around the light, smothering it. Facing the two of us alone? Bold, but foolish. Space distorted before Lin Dong, and Hua Chun reappeared, his face twisted in a vicious smile. He clenched his fist, and sharp black demonic spikes extended from his knuckles as he unleashed a powerful punch. Boom! The air exploded under Hua Chen's punch, forming a concave arc. The force, powerful enough to severely injure a minor completion expert at the death mystique stage, blasted toward Lin Dong. Clang! Lightning cascaded from the Thunder Emperor's scepter as Lin Dong intercepted Hua Chen's attack. The clash rang out with a metallic clang as a visible ripple of energy spread across the sky. The force of the blow sent Lin Dong skidding back 10 paces before he managed to stabilize himself by slamming the scepter into the air, redirecting the energy. He looked up, his gaze heavy, seeing Hua Chun, who had only been forced back a single step. No matter how many tricks he had, Hua Chun remained a genuine expert at the great completion of the death mystique stage. His martial skills were incredibly powerful, making victory far from easy. Is that all you've got? Hua Chun sneered at Lin Dong, dark light slithering around his body like venomous snakes. His expression turned cold, and his demon wings pulsed as he transformed into another streak of black light, shooting forward once more. Lin Dong's pupils shrank at the speed of the black light. His body shuddered as his azure dragon wings unfolded, and in a flash of green light, he vanished from his original position. A fist wrapped in dense black light suddenly slammed into the spot where Lin Dong had just vanished, compressing the air with a force that shot out like an air cannon, creating a massive crater 100 meters deep in the mountain below. Has his speed increased? Hua Chen's figure appeared in a flash. He glanced at Lin Dong, who had reappeared in the distance, and raised an eyebrow. It was clear that after acquiring the azure dragon wings, Lindong's speed had significantly improved. On a nearby mountain peak, Mu Lingshan was supporting Tang Xinlian. Both women gazed up at the fierce battle in the sky with serious expressions. It was obvious to anyone that Lindong was slightly at a disadvantage in this head-on clash with Hua Chun. The real concern was that Su Xiu, who was equally powerful as Hua Chun, had yet to join the fight. For now, he was only blocking the grand formation in the sky. If Su Xiu were to engage in the battle, Lindong would undoubtedly be in grave danger. "Let me rest a bit, and I'll recover some strength," Tang Xinlian said, biting down on her lip. Mu Lingshan clenched her red lips, her gaze fixed on the intense battle in the sky. Her small hands slowly tightened into fists as a blue light flickered deep in her eyes. The battle in the sky became more violent. The two figures flickered like lightning, and every clash erupted with waves of terrifying energy. "Divine thunder, demon-slaying eye!" A fierce shout rang out, followed by a flash of lightning. A brilliant streak of thunder shot out from the demonic eye that had appeared on Lindong's forehead, striking a black silhouette ahead with lightning speed. Boom! The thunderous explosion echoed, and the figure was blasted back several hundred meters. The black light that had shrouded his body noticeably weakened. Thunder Dragon Skylocking Staff. Lindong had fought countless battles over the years and had vast combat experience. Noticing a sudden opening in Hua Chun's defenses, he pressed his advantage. In a flash, he appeared in front of Hua Chun, and the Thunder Emperor's scepter in his hand shot out. The roaring Thunder Dragon surged forward with astonishing speed. Boom! Violent thunder scattered in all directions, and Hua Chun was once again forced back, black smoke rising from his body. The scorched marks on his skin made him appear somewhat disheveled. For the first time since his appearance, Hua Chun looked a bit worse for wear, drawing murmurs from those inside and outside the boundless mirror. Many people couldn't help but click their tongues in surprise. Lindong indeed had some skill to be able to exploit a weakness and counterattack, even while on the defensive. In the sky, Hua Chun's face darkened as he glanced at the burn marks on his body. Being struck by Lindong's attack had clearly damaged his pride. End him quickly. The longer this drags on, the worse it will be. "Don't forget our primary task," Su Xiu said calmly from a distance. Hua Chun nodded slightly, his gaze locking onto Lindong with a sinister intensity. A torrent of black light surged from his body, and the black symbols on his skin grew more pronounced. Eerie black flames began to dance across his skin, and the space around him started to distort under the heat. As the black flames flared on Hua Chun's body, Su Xiu slowly raised his pitch-black arm once more, clearly preparing to strike. Lindong took a deep breath at the sight. Only after clashing directly with Hua Chun could one truly understand his strength. If Su Xiu also joined the fray, the pressure on him would multiply exponentially. Facing such formidable foes, even Lindong felt an intense headache. But at this point, all he could do was fight with everything he had. Boom! Boom! High above the sky, the massive ancient cosmic formation began to reverse once again. An overwhelming wave of power spread out, filling the air. Swoosh! A crimson light shot from Lindong's palm, rapidly expanding into a colossal crimson cauldron. With a tremor, 8 beams of crimson light shot out from the cauldron, transforming into 8 enormous crimson gates that stood tall in the sky. A terrifying wave of heat radiated from them. 8 extreme scorching heaven gate. With the appearance of the 8 crimson gates, the primordial energy in the air grew chaotic, and the expressions of many onlookers turned more serious. Summoning the scorching heaven gates from within the heaven-burning cauldron, Lindong still wasn't finished. He suddenly slammed the Thunder Emperor's scepter into the ground, and thousands of bolts of lightning surged forth. Roar! A thunderous dragon's roar echoed across the sky, and countless spectators watched as 9 massive thunder dragons soared into the air, their deafening roars shaking the heavens. Thunder Emperor's Scepter. 9 dragons returned to the origin. In the sky above, the colossal formation spun in reverse. 8 towering gates stood firm, and the 9 dragons returned to the origin burst forth.